Hey guys, so I did some math. I figured out, for a long time now, I've been seeing people making like 200,000, 400,000 a month on Amazon, making like $10,000 a day on Shopify. And I think that's completely insane. And of course, a lot of these people are also living like crazy lives as well. So I'm not really into that. You know, that's something I might want to adventure into, like maybe in my 40s, but in my 30s, I really do just want to hunker down and make some money. You know, my 20s was a big learning phase, almost like doctors. You know, how doctors spend like 10 years in school or 12 years in school. I went from the age of 19 to the age of 30. I studied for over 20,000 hours my craft of entrepreneurship, and I have pretty much everything I need to, really make it in my career. So let's do some math. If I made 400,000 a month on between Amazon and Shopify, which this new internet money is actually possible to do. I see people doing it all the time. Tons of people are making tons of money on Amazon. 400,000 a month times 12 months out of the year, that's $4.8 million a year. Times 20 years is $96 million, damn near $100 million. Times, if I invest that at 4%, that is 384,000 or 384 $3.8 million a year, which is about $10,000 a day, which is about my goal. So if I optimize my Amazon store starting like right now, I want to retire in my 50s so bad. I want to retire in my 50s and spend the rest of my life just enjoying my fucking life. I picture myself in my 50s and my 60s and my 70s. I picture myself in my 70s tying everything together and getting everything ready to pass down to my kids. Fuck what you heard about investing all your wealth into charity when you die. I know, like Warren Buffett, like a lot of the working class expects billionaires to invest all their money into charity when they die, but you see people on the street and they don't even want to give you their spare change. Like, I've been homeless several times and seeing people on the street and they don't even want to give you their spare change. So I don't want to hear shit from anybody about me wanting to pass down my business to my kids when I'm fucking 70 and dying, because that shit is fucking bullshit. So anyways, um yeah, so with the bank of cryptocurrency thing that I have going on right now, and with all the other things that I have going on right now, I have a lot of stuff to do in between time. So I should be coding the bank of cryptocurrency like all the time. But if anyone knows about basically that I have to do it at a certain time, I know they say that there's no perfect moment to start your business, but you still have to align with like certain market demands and stuff like that. So basically, at a bare minimum, I would like to be doing, if I can optimize my Amazon store and really get it going in the next 10 years to make $1 million a month. Let's see. Let's do a Google search. Amazon Sellers List USA. I just want to find okay. 30-day reviews, lifetime reviews, Woot's pattern. I think I've actually bought from a couple of these guys before. World of Books. I've bought from World of Books before on eBay. But yearly revenue. How do I unlock that? How do I unlock that? I want to find get in touch. 12.3 million sellers on Amazon. 3.6 million emails. 23.9 million products. I want to unlock that data. Okay. So Amazon is only going up. People keep shopping on Amazon. Let's see. want to get data on the top Amazon Marketplace sellers. If I download this list, yearly revenue. How do I unlock the yearly revenue? I guess there's no way to find out, but yeah. So let's go to Amazon.com. Let's do some product research, guys. Product research. I can't do any product research in front of you guys because I can't, I don't want to give you guys my product ideas, but let's see. Do some more math. I expect to make over $1 billion over the course of my career. I'm honest, guys. I expect to do over $1 billion over the course of my career. I think the bank of cryptocurrency alone will do a few billion. Being like over like a $10 billion company. I expect, honestly, to build one of the next $1 trillion companies. You know, so, but we can't plan for that, right? We could plan for being able to make like $100 million. I think that's perfectly doable. If I make, let's count on a bad case scenario. If I make 200,000 a month, or how much is it, 30 days? If I make $10,000 a day from Amazon, that is minus like 20% is like 200. What is that, like $240,000 a day over the course of the next 20 years. It's count that after, to get really going on what I'm trying to do right now, it's going to take about 2 years to reach like a couple $1,000s a day, and then after that is exponential growth. So pretty much to reach my first couple $1,000s a day, the first time around it took me about 4 months to reach over $100 a day in profit, or actually 4 or 5 months. Yeah, about 3-4 months, actually about 4 months to reach over $100 a day in profit, starting with a small $20 investment in some products from basically the thrift store. And then they fucked around and raised the prices at the thrift store. So now I have to be a little bit more calculated with how I go about my business at the thrift store. That's how I made my first $500, was by reselling products at the thrift store. And then I invested in some wholesale products from China to sell on Amazon, and my first product was a fucking hit. Could you imagine that? My first product was a fucking hit and started making sales like the first day. And then I went from making $500 took me like 2 weeks to make that $500. I like scaled the business infinitely, invested every single penny back into the business to make like that $500 to invest into that wholesale product. And then I fucked up because once I started making like $300 a day, I didn't reinvest back into the business anymore. I was just very happy with the amount of money that I was making. And that's where I went wrong, pretty much. Now is like, I learned something about life that you really do get the amount of money that you need. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need, right? Just like the song says, the old rock and roll song. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need, right? I really do feel like I need this money to be truly happy. And I guess, the thing is $2,000 a week is like no money. And I had just turned 21 and I was going to the bars and stuff. And I'd be spending money on retarded shit, just spending money, and but I was only in the business for like 2 months. I didn't even have the chance to scale the business before I got kicked out of the house, because I guess my parents thought that I'd be fine, but I wasn't, because I had $2,000 in my pocket and I had to find a place to live. And that's when the business basically went down. And then for some reason, I just didn't make any effort to restart the business until this year. And I'm pretty committed, pretty convinced that this is what I want to do. And it almost seems like every time I make a serious commitment, it just doesn't follow through. Like there's some I'm supposed to believe, it's almost like I'm supposed to believe that there's some sort of like greater plan for my life other than to make money. What else is life about other than to make money? It seems like this year is like the first year that I've gotten a little bit ahead. I started to get a little bit ahead and slide back. And I wound up homeless on the fucking streets for like 3 days, which is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Because I found myself in an apartment after 3 days, but still, fucking bullshit, right? How some people somehow manage to keep it all together for like their entire fucking lives does not make any fucking sense to me. My whole adult life has been fucking bullshit. Ever since like the moment I turned 19 years old. Go to college, you think you're doing the right thing for yourself. You drop out of college thinking you're doing the right thing for yourself to work on your business, and bam, I got kicked out of the house as soon as I turned I turned 19 in May. I dropped out of college in March of the next year. But they kicked me out of the house when I was 20. Because they thought that I'd lost my mind. They thought that I was headed for nowhere, and or whatever it might have been. I was like wrecking my life a little bit, I guess, like, but that was when I needed them the most. That was when I needed support the most, you know. And little did I know, my grandmother was dying of cancer. So she didn't fucking tell me that. So it was like December when they chose to basically kick me out of the house. And the next month, my grandmother found out that she was dying of cancer. She let me back in the house, and I was building my business. She let me back in the house, and like 2 weeks later, I was building my business and making money, right? So, within about 5 months, by my 21st birthday, I was making like sometimes $500 a day, you know, which was like pretty good. Basically, all I want to fucking do is make money. That's how I want to spend my 30s. I want to spend my 40s partying and being a fucking man, getting laid, probably be taking steroids, being in the gym, you know, looking good. I have like a male role model that I used to live at his house. He's like 43, he's like jacked, he's got like money, he's got like a Porsche and like a truck and like all this stuff. I want to do the same thing but on like a bigger scale than even that. Seemed like he also was someone who settled for the lesser scale of like owning your business, where you start to make a little bit of money and you start to get bored of money very easily, kind of like how I did at first. But I won't make the same mistake twice. I won't make the same mistake twice. I want to be rich so fucking bad. I have a particular house picked out that I want. I have a particular house picked out that I want. You know, um, it's $10 million, and I think I'll be able to afford it. Let's do some math. If I make $240,000 a month times 12 months times 20 years is $57 million. So to optimize this business, to make like, if I also sell, instead of just selling on Amazon, if I also sell on eBay and optimize the business to make like, you know, maybe I want to make $1 million a month times 12 months times 20 years is $240 million strictly from bullshit, basically what I consider is bullshit internet money. I find this stuff fun to do. So to me, it's not hard work. Elon Musk does hard fucking work, you know, complex engineering and stuff. Like buying shit from China to resell on Amazon and eBay is not fucking hard work. It's like clicking a few buttons on the computer. And waiting for your shit to come in the mail and posting it on Amazon and eBay. You know, it's really as simple as that. And if I could make like a catalog of Amazon and eBay products, that would be even fucking better. You know, I mean, a catalog of like thousands of products, you know, and source like tens of thousands of products. That would be fucking awesome. So let's say if I'm making $100 a day from 1,000 products. That's $100,000 a day, guys. Holy fucking shit. That is like achievable in 20 years. That right there is like achievable in 20 years. With the brand that I have set in place, the brand that I want to do, you know, if I'm making $100 a day from 1,000 products, and if you consider, I'll probably be making like, you know, $1,000 a day from like 100 of those products. I could be making like $1 million a fucking day, you know, and pretty much just taking it to scale and saying like, I really just want to be like one of the biggest brands on Amazon. That's what I always wanted to be, like top 50. You know, top 50 of this basically generation until Amazon either dies or until Amazon either dies or till, you know, when Jeff Bezos dies, the CEO of the company, when Jeff Bezos dies, I pretty much assume that Amazon's going to go down the shitter. Whether if that's true or not, I don't know. But Amazon has solidified its place in history for sure. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Amazon is going to be around like till the end of time. You know, I think some iteration of Amazon is going to be around forever, but not at the scale that it is today. You know, Amazon is going to probably be remembered as like the original like marketplace in the original internet, you know, or eBay will. You know, but Amazon is like the first internet marketplace to be really like global and have warehouses everywhere. You know, who knows? Maybe it'll last forever, but one thing I know for sure is Amazon's delivery system will last forever. Amazon will be remembered as the company that invented the best and fastest delivery mechanism in the world. Never before in the history of the internet have you been able to get a product at your door in like 2 days for as cheap as Amazon charges it for it. Okay, so I'm making $100 a day. $100 a day from 1,000 products. That's $100,000 a day. If I'm making $100,000 a day, that's $36 million a year. That's just a ridiculous amount of money. That's like enough money that I need. That's like my prayer right there. That's like, I'm very like cold and calculated with when I pray and what I pray about and stuff. I don't like bother God for just everything. But that's like how much money I pretty much need to be truly, truly satisfied right there. I expect to have all the money I'll need when I'm 54. That's the number that I predict. 54, that's when I'll officially retire and have enough money to have everything I want and need pretty much. Because this welfare shit, being on welfare, is the fucking worst. Not having money is the fucking worst. And I just want to have my own house, not have to worry about shit, just fucking be happy. You know, I don't, and I have a loan on the table. My friend wants to give me a loan for $1,300, and I'm not gonna take the loan. I'm really just going to start from the fucking bottom. You know, start with what I have here, a very minimal amount of money, and you know what? As long as I'm considered disabled, I could always go back on welfare. You know, I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. This is what I want to fucking do. This is what I want to spend my life doing. You know, I want to work in my 30s. I already studied 20,000 hours in my 20s. I want to work in my 30s, party in my 40s, chill in my 50s, try to like stay in decent shape in my 60s, and just kind of like probably like explore in my 60s and die in my 70s. That's what I want to basically do. With the object of money being a fucking big deal. With the object of money being a fucking big deal, you can't just chill all your life. That's not what being on welfare is like. If I get 36 bucks a week, right? I buy my tobacco and I buy my vape like every 2 weeks. And I don't even have a fucking phone. There's Wi-Fi, but I don't have a phone. Plus, I have recurring business expenses going out. So I have to pay 20 bucks 20 times a year. So pretty much all my money's gone right there. So, yeah, that's an awesome amount of money right there. If I make $36 million a year, that is over 20 years, that's $730 million, which is an awesome amount of money right there. I think, like, if I could make, like, you know, from the bank of cryptocurrency, if I continue to build it out, if I continue to if I continue to build out the bank of cryptocurrency, I'll probably make like a couple billion just from that. I really believe that. Like over the course, let's say if I make crypto.com is currently doing 300 million a year. If I make 100 million a year, from the Bank of Cryptocurrency times, 20 years is $2 billion. So that's where I get off right there, saying that I'm a billionaire sometimes, because the Bank of Cryptocurrency is not the only thing that I fucking do, by the way. That's just like 20% of what I do. Like 15 or 20 or 25% of what I do. I'm more like, probably like, a very small percentage of what I do is that. Like 20% maybe. And the other shit that I do is like another, like the entire portfolio. Let's say if I do 2 billion over 20 years, a business like the Bank of Cryptocurrency is valued based on like long term, right? A business like, for example, a Shopify store or an Amazon store is valued based on like maybe a 12-month valuation. A business like the Bank of Cryptocurrency is valued based on like 10 or 15 years. And if you think about it, it's probably going to do even more than that. Let's see. If Crypto.com is charging like low fees for what they do, maybe I could make an entire business of charging like high fees for what I do. With the promise of decentralized security. So the owner of the account owns their data. The owner of the Bank of Cryptocurrency account owns their data. I do not have control over their data. So if that turns into like if the Bank of Cryptocurrency becomes, let's see, market cap, Crypto.com market cap. Crypto.com is a large company with over 100 million customers, a strong revenue stream of 1.5 billion in 2024. Let's see. 1 billion in gross profit. Net profitability of about 300 million after reinvesting about 700 million. So that 700 million right there could have easily been the owner's salaries. Net profitability of about 300 million. So let's say if I do 300 million, we're talking about like net profit is just for me, basically, as the sole owner. If I remain the sole owner of the company, on a 10-year valuation, the company's worth about what is it? Hold on, 300 million. On a 10-year valuation, the company's worth about 3 billion, right? If the company's making the owner or the owners 300 million, and if operating costs are somewhere around another maybe 100 million or 50 million, or I could probably, figure something out for maybe even just like a couple million. Operating costs, try to keep operating costs low, deploy old school business tactics and not just spend money because for the sake of spending money. If I'm putting 300 million a year into my pocket, or let's say if it's even just 100 million a year into the pocket of me, right? Because I plan on selling 50% of the company. After taxes, after everything else, I pocket 100 million a year for me. So after 20 years is $2 billion. So pretty much looking forward to that. I don't care, like anywhere from 144 million is pretty much my number. I forget where I got that number. I think that's saying if I make 600,000 a month. Yeah, 600,000 a month to make 144 million over 20 years. That's pretty much all I need. You know, um, 2 billion, the big B, the big billion, like tends to impress people and wow people and like scare people and stuff. But I don't think it's anything really worth getting too like excited about. I've been considered like around that arena of like $1 billion if you count all my assets and all the future predictions of what I have for my company. It's not that big of a deal. You know, um, I just want to make sure I take it nice and slow and don't wind up going broke in the process. You know, that's the one thing that I want to make sure that I don't do. It's so easy to go and just spend all your money on, bullshit. Maybe money that I make from the stock market, I go and invest into like money that I make from the stock market. I go and invest and spend at the fucking bar and pop bottles at the bar. Doing stupid, retarded shit. But for the most part, I just want to monetize everything that I do, and pretty much I'm gonna get to that $144 million. I want to make $10,000 a day so fucking bad, bro. So fucking bad. And if I spend my entire 30s just working, if I spend my entire 40s partying and basically getting laid, maybe have a couple more kids, you know, I think that'd be awesome. You know, um, $144 million. Can you imagine? I mean, man, $10,000 a day. You don't even need that much money. It's just the house, man. The house and the houses are gonna cost so much fucking money, bro. Taxes on a $10 million house is like 20,000 a year or 40,000 a year or something like that. Just the property taxes. And man, I mean, I could sure like find a way to spend $10,000 a day. You know, I could sure find a way to spend $10,000 a day. Just to live in a nice house, and to have the money to live basically how I want. I want to do more drugs. I want to be on like a crazy fucking amount of steroids. I want to be looking good, feeling good, tripping out, like take like some hallucinogens and read the Bible. I'm a big fan of ecstasy. I love ecstasy. And that is the same thing is the same thing as Molly, like chemically, but the ecstasy that I had versus the Molly that I had was like two different types of feelings. And 2CI and marijuana and holy shit. If I make $20 million, I'm happy. Let's think about it that way. Let's do some math. 20 million times 4%. That's 800,000 a year. That's 400,000 a year after I buy the house. That's like just as much as I'll ever need, really, to live the life that I want to live. 20 million. What more could you ever ask for? Just it's not a modest house. This house is like really nice for 10 million bucks in a gated community where no one can find me. Have like some girls over the house. Go to the bar like every fucking day. Just get shit faced every day. Man, I should make it my goal by the time I'm 40 to make $20 million. Because that's more than that's like just as much as I'll ever need, really. That's all that I need to live the life that I want to live right now. But then my kid needs a house too, My kid is gonna need a house. I want to get my kid a nice house. You know, it's like being a responsible parent is fucking expensive when you're an entrepreneur, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good 10 years, you know, to spend my 30s just working, building money. I want to do some math for like the short term. I want to plan out the next 2 years of my life. So if I should get, I live off of 36 bucks a week right now, you know, 36. That's going to turn into about that $36 is going to turn into about uh, 20, maybe like I could probably squeeze like $60 in profit out of that. Um, well, it's going to cost more than 36. It's going to cost about 80 to get the products to the customer, and then probably make like $60 off that. So, yeah, I mean, just to basically, okay, so this year, uh, and working in my off days from my business, right, from selling on eBay, working in my off days to make like, what is it, like 70 bucks a day? I'll be making 70 bucks a day. Like, I'm going full time into this whole working thing. I'm coming off of welfare because this welfare system is fucking bullshit. They don't give us enough to fucking eat, let alone like pay rent and stuff. And for the past 8 years, it has not been a matter of my will, of my like, you know, wanting to work. I'm not like some bum that just takes welfare. It's my ability to work that's been holding me back. Because schizophrenia is a hell of an illness. Schizophrenia, mostly, for those wondering, is like often described as like the ultimate mental illness, but really, it's just like a disconnect from reality. When reality is a lot more like magical. I'm starting to learn that reality is like a lot more magical than like we're almost like taught that if you think reality is magical, then you're schizophrenic. But reality itself is a lot more magical than, like, you're supposed to. Logic says that reality is very, like, magical, right? And logic in reality says that, reality is very magical. They connect with God, and the voice in your head does come from somewhere. And I struggled with voices for a long time. You know, battling with, like, demons of my past, and dealing with, like, struggles with, offensive, like, basically battling with demons, basically. Not like real demons, but like metaphorical demons of, like, dealing with karma, dealing with this, dealing with that, to become healthy. That I'm just very, very happy that it's not my destiny to be the homeless, schizophrenic freak that I basically was when I was 21. I guess I was not a homeless schizophrenic freak at 21, but it was kind of more akin to that than, like, the latter of, like, oh, that's just a kid going through some struggles. I guess I was just a kid going through some struggles. But what followed after that was a series of psychiatric evaluations where they gave me a bunch of medication that, basically the doctor just wants to give you medication to get you in the fucking office so that you have to pay the bill to see the doctor. And they basically convince you to believe that you're sick when in reality you're just fine. I'm willing to bet that a lot of schizophrenics, people that they call schizophrenic, are really, like, more so, like, they're just feeding them medication, and more or less, like, expensive medication. I was on a medication that the name brand medication costs like $6,000 a month. So I had to take the generic brand of the medication. And these medications, they don't really do nothing for you. It's basically a fucking sugar pill for $6,000 a month. And then dealing with primary care and getting blood work done. I bet you I would be a lot healthier if I just never went to the fucking doctor. I don't know how much I really believe in doctors. I think that medicine is not evolved enough for me to really put any real faith. Is like getting a COVID-19 vaccine. When it was only in development for like 2 months. How the fuck are they supposed to know that it cures COVID-19? Or prevents COVID-19? Isn't that supposed to be like the number one thing on everyone's mind? Because that was the number one thing on my mind I still got my COVID-19 vaccine to comply with the system and to comply with the government and to not be a little conspiracy theorist like and wind up getting fucking murdered. But you can have all of them if you want.
Thank you. I won't take them off right here, so just in case you're upset. Thank you, sir. I'll take them off in a few minutes.
But oddly enough, then they say that the COVID-19 vaccine causes cancer. So, what the fuck is that shit all about? They make us take this fucking vaccine to cause us cancer. It's like, I'm sick of worrying about money, you know. I don't want to be like a fucking hopeless schizophrenic or like a crazy schizophrenic. I just want to be like normal, you know, and do like normal people shit. Like, I guess normal people shit is not like building a business, but maybe like I just want to fix my money situation. You know, if the government is gonna force me to be on fucking welfare, well, they're not forcing me to be on welfare, but I'm disabled, okay? I don't have a fucking choice whether or not I'm on welfare. You gotta give me enough money to pay rent and shit, you know. $1,000 a month is no fucking money. And if you really expect me to live on like 20 bucks a week or like 40 bucks a week, you got it fucking twisted, brother. Is like
Thank you.
the government creates such fucking bullshit situations for us and then yells at us when you fucking talk out against it. You know, it's fucking bullshit.
Yes, it is. Yeah, for real.
And you try to comply with it and you try to be a good little boy, a good little citizen, a good little civilian as they call it. And at the end of the day, you could own the biggest business. You're either like a fucking nobody, like a number, or you're like a fucking puppet to them. You know? And who are them anyways? Is like basically the way I see the government is an extension of God that is given to dictate, or not dictate, a dictator, right? To conduct this part of the world, right? It's very much much more complicated than that. But I'm sick of every time I have a fucking discrepancy with my life. Is my life just fucking meaningless? You know, is my life just fucking meaningless? You know, they want you to work, they want you to blah blah blah. God takes care of me just fine. They say the United States is the best country in the fucking world. Well, what is the best country in the world if you can't fucking talk about your problems? This country is also the hardest working country in the fucking world. I don't believe in work. I don't believe that I should have to worry about petty shit like money. Money is the root of not all evil. Money is the root of all fucking problems, which causes people to do crazy shit to get more fucking money. Which is the whole point of this fucking video, is the whole point of the past 10 years of my life, 15 years of my life, is getting money. Every time I think about it, I think like, oh, I need more money. Every time I wake up in the morning is like, oh, gotta get more money. And then if you own a business, they try to like suppress you if you talk about shit like this, but I'm fucking just like on one right now, and I can't fucking deal with this shit right now. That's my opinion on the government. Is the government is an extension of God, but is not like godly. That if God is as good as he says he is, and he wants you to have faith in him almost in a devoted sense, to be like hands in prayer, like with like a fucking turban on and shit like that, and like a fucking robe on, and to be like a fucking monk. It just in devoted faith, and just everything you do is for God, right? And everything I do is for fucking God. Is like, why the fuck am I so broke right now? Why can't I go get something to eat? Why do I have $0 in the fucking bank? If the past 9 years of my life have been devoted to God, why am I fucking broke? That's my question. I have some money in net worth, but I have $0 in the fucking bank. It's supposed to translate into something in the future, and then in order to get rich, you have to sacrifice. In order to get rich, you have to sacrifice. You either choose a hard life where you have a lot of money and you have a lot of joy and things. You basically choose between, like, my understanding is you choose between like joy and happiness are two different things. And then some people are just fucking depressed. Some people have neither. You know, some people have shitty fucking lives, financial lives. And like, money is a big fucking dick measuring contest of, are you willing to put in more than me? You know, are you willing to do more than me? Because if you're not, I'm going to be richer than you, you know? And it's bullshit. But that's the way it fucking is. So I live a hard life where, you know, my grandfather had no money. All his life, no fucking money. He would get paid and then spend his fucking money. He drank like a fucking fish for the first 20 years of his adult life. And then he quit drinking. He died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes. Great fucking life, but no fucking money. He owned his house. He lived in the suburbs. He had a nice house in the suburbs, you know. Lived in a nice community. No violence, no anything crazy going on or anything like that. Just west of the major city, basically. And but it wasn't like a big house, like an expensive house. It was like back in 2015, it was like $150,000 house. You know, like a very standard, to me is my opinion of like a very standard like middle class like house, you know. And he lived a great life, but never had any fucking money. Me, I live a hard life to do like almost to pay justice to my grandfather's life, who gave me so much love and so much fucking care, you know. And just to like pay justice to what they gave me, I want to give their anything that came from them. I want to give back to their kids and their grandkids. And that's what I give my fucking life for. To bring honor to my family, to serve God, and to bring honor to my family through that, and to also make some money in business via my sacrifice and my commitment and my, I guess I'm an old soul, so, you know, worked all my fucking life to get to this point. And this is my discrepancy. Why am I 30 years old and broke? It's a very simple inquiry. I know that everything I'm surrounded by is like a fucking miracle of creation. The window that I'm looking out of right now is like a fucking miracle of fucking creation. The light that's shining through the window to shed light on this video is like a miracle of fucking creation. The car is driving down the road doesn't even make any fucking sense. My human body doesn't make any fucking sense. Everything that I know in my human existence is fucking awesome. But my internal ecosystem sucks. For the sake of getting money, I'm 30 years old and broke. But now that if I think about it, I have some net worth going on. I have some things going on. I got some things in place, but I'm not a fucking psychic. You know, I don't know what the future's going to hold, so that's my discrepancy right now. It's like, why am I 30 years old and broke? I spent all my 20s getting money, focused on money. I'm 30 years old. I do get, I guess, free money from the government, but it's based on a kind of like a stipulation of I'm also fucked up mentally. The one thing that I enjoyed the most in my teenage years was ecstasy. And I just want to do more fucking ecstasy. I don't want to take drugs from the doctor. I want to do fucking ecstasy. I want to get back to my old fraternity, figure out what the fuck they got going on 20 years later. reconnect with old people that I used to know. And, make money in my 30s, party in my 40s, chill in my 50s, probably like make more money in my 50s, be like the old guy, be like the old guy in the Rolls Royce, We always see like an older, like 50-year-old guy like hopping out of a Rolls Royce with like all of his, with like a nice like $150 million like liquid net worth. And just like I want to explore in my 60s, like read the Bible. Because right now, I try to read the Bible and I just can't take it. It's like too much, you know. I try to read the Bible. It's like entirely too much. I have no idea what the fuck I'm even reading. It's like my brain right now is overloaded of from 10 years of studying business, and I cannot find it in me to read the Bible. And pretty much, I'm coming off of one of my medications right now. The doctors love giving me medications, but they don't love me taking drugs that make me fucking happy. I just remember drugs as like a miserable fucking experience. Getting high was like sometimes fun, but mostly I was just kind of like wrecking myself a little bit. But I love ecstasy. I love 2CI. If you've ever heard of 2CI, we used to have these like chocolate bars that would come through the city. They call them like shroom bars. It was like, but it was like China. It was like some chemical from China that they'd be selling, and it was like 2CI. The chemical's called 2CI. See if I could find it on the internet. I don't know. The drug was called 2CI. It's a fucking awesome fucking drug. I mean, the high itself was kind of stupid. You know, wasn't like very like eye opening or anything like that. It was just kind of like a trance, you know, and and maybe I was a little bit stupid myself at the time, but that drug at the time was like it made me feel great, and the high was pretty fucking awesome. It wasn't too intense. Like marijuana, for me, was like a very intense drug. Street weed, you know, before it became legal where I live, was like super intense. It was like gave you like anxiety. You know, it always gave me like anxiety. You know, and so yeah. Um, I want to in my 30s, I got to make money so I could party in my 40s. That's what I'm thinking about right now. Um, let's do some math for the next 2 years. So, if I if I spend the next $360 I get and double my money, or make like, well, let's see. You know, I think I live a pretty good life, but my kid is counting on me to to pull through. So to come through with the money. So um, I got to get a job, basically. Whatever money I could make from reselling on eBay, you know, I could, well, really, okay, let me think about it this way. Owning a business, I could keep my disability check. I would have to ditch my welfare check. So disability pays me 500 because I only worked for 4 years, and welfare pays me the other 500. So I could keep my disability check, but I would have to ditch the welfare check. It would all be contingent on me not paying myself more than 1,600 a month. So let's do some calculations here. So I'm basically restricted to simply owning a business, which is perfect. Because the truth is if I could avoid working a job, I would every single time. I think everyone would. Um, so, okay. So if by the end of the year I get up to $100 a day, basically, the first $500 I get in my pocket, and every $500 I get in my pocket, I'm going to be investing into bulk inventory from China, into my personal brand on Amazon. So let's say if I'm making if I get up to $100 a day by the end of the year, I don't see why it would take that long. Let's just say it takes that long. $100 a day by the end of the year. There's how much? 52 weeks in a year, right? Or 52 or 54, 52 weeks in a year, let's say. I'll have somewhere around, let's just say, $1,000 invested into eBay inventory. Fuck. That's by the end of the year. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Uh, so I don't think I could make $100 a day by the end of the year. If I make like an extra $100 a week by the end of the year, I think that's possible. So, I gotta hop off camera and do some research on Amazon to see if I could resell on Amazon and uh, eBay both at the same time. So actually, I can't do that because I don't want to fuck up my Amazon seller account with non-FBA products. So let's see. I just have to be diligent, and let's say if I go back to work for a little while, if I make $70 a day, 5 days a week, that's $350 a week times, that's $1,500 a month. That's 18,000 in a year. Wait, hold on. Did I say that was 1,500 a month, right? So that would give me basically somewhere around like 15,000 to invest straight into well, if you consider like the natural cost of my life, um, let's say I'm able to invest 12,000. Let's say if I take out a loan from my buddy. Yeah, let's say if I'm able to take out that $1,300 loan like we were talking about.
Hey, Michael, can
Yeah,
you
man.
give me a sec, or-
Here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable taking out a loan from my friend. But I might have to. Let's see, I don't know. If I go to work for a year, which really I have like 9 months to I have a good like 9 months to work without it affecting my disability. Actually, hold on. Let me look up the rules of disability again. Okay, so $16.20 per month. So I could work full time at the employment agency, and I mean, I feel good right now, so I just gotta wait for my social security card to come in the mail, and today's Sunday, so. Okay, so if I make 1,600 a month, that also means I get 400 or 500, but that'll pay for my rent. Yeah, that's what they call the welfare trap, I guess. They make it so fucking hard. They make it so fucking hard to get off this shit. That okay. So uh basically, what I need to do is I need to find a fucking job. Um, Working for the man is never anyone's first choice, but might just be exactly what I need to get started in my business because I don't have uh, I don't have 5 years to wait around for money to happen from my welfare check, so I got to start working and pretty much yeah. So if I can get a job starting at like 15 an hour or $20 an hour, you know, that'd be pretty good. You know, um, I can get a job through like a staffing agency for like $15 an hour. I don't know how, or I believe it starts between like 10 and 15 an hour, which is anywhere from 70 to like $120 or 70 and 100. Yeah, 70 and 100 and about $100 a day. So, yeah, pretty good. You know, let's do some math. 15 an hour times 40 hours a week times what the fuck? So, you know, I could start a job right now making 30,000 a year. That's not too bad, right? I also heard of a couple jobs. Finding a job is harder than you fucking think. I've been looking for a job for the past 2-3 months, and no luck. People want me to like pull a fucking rabbit out of my ass, and like people want me to apply online and stuff like that. I mean, I just want to walk into a business and get a job, you know. But you got to do like all this shit, and you never know who's gonna hire you. So you got to fill out like, you know, a fucking 100 job applications. I filled out probably 20 job applications, and no luck, right? So I don't know, you know. But I know where I can get a job. I know where they have work. I can make 30,000 a year starting out, but it's all dependent on my ability to be on my feet. It's all like it's all like factory bullshit. Being on your feet all day and like doing like repetitive tasks and doing stupid shit. But it's work, you know, so um you know it's the only fucking thing is I have a kid dependent on me, man. If not, you know, I probably would just stay on welfare. I mean, why work if you don't have to, right? But I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna start filling out some job applications, and I'll get back to you guys in whenever. I don't know, probably later today. I don't know.